Hello and welcome back to everyone that's tuned in to the American Ultra Stock Show. Thank you so much for tuning in after a long hiatus for myself, especially. I'm so sorry, guys. But thank you so much if you're sticking around with us. Thank you, Braden, for holding it in the time that I was gone. And we plan on being back, truly back, and upload more regularly. If you're still interested and still watching USMNT, contact my hats off to you because I feel like we've been progressively getting worse. And here's our reaction to this amazing roster. Now we're less than a year until the World Cup, and Poch the man has decided to call up some very interesting names. I think this it's fair to say if this was Greg, he'd be getting publicly crucified tomorrow, or he would have been yesterday already. But anyways, before we dive into the position groups, Braden, your initial thoughts when you saw this, and I'm curious. I know that I feel like there's a wave of pessimism recently. Were you expecting it to be this bad?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we thought about doing a roster prediction video. We were going to do it. Ultimately, it ended up not working out timing wise. I still had my roster prediction. I honestly did think that there would be a lot of MLS players. I mean, that's most of the concerns here are because of them, not because of where they play or anything, just the quality of them versus, the other options that were left off. But yeah, I did think it was going to be bad, to be honest. I don't know if I can say I thought it would be this bad. There's a couple bright spots in there, and we'll get to those. But honestly, this sounds bad, but I kind of just left. I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm expecting stuff like this, and I think it's funny how the Federation and Poch or whoever's really making the decisions. There's all kinds of crazy theories that might not be so crazy after the last few rosters about who's really calling the shots. I just can't believe that they would think that this is acceptable. So close to a World Cup at home, that is the best chance we've ever had to truly grow the game in this country and change everything about American soccer for the better, for the future. And it just, as of now, it looks like we're going to waste it. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully these guys who got called in can show some good fight against Japan and South Korea, which, to be fair, I will give USSF credit. The friendlies that they have scheduled, not just this camp, but the entirety of 2025, very good. Hats off to them. Quality opposition from places that normally we don't get to face off against teams from there. So credit to them. It's just I wish that there was a better roster. But let's get into the goalkeepers now, I guess.
Yeah, just before we dive in, I want to leave my 2 cents on this. I know that there are a lot of theories on who's really behind the rosters, who's calling the shots. I'll just say it right now, regardless, if it really is MLS, what does that say about Poch? Remember what was the famous slogan when he got appointed? A lot of people were saying, Poch won't take shit. Poch won't take these things. He's going to clean up the house. I think he is very volatile to anything that's he's been told, but I kind of believe that he really believes that this is the best group that he could call. I kind of believe it. I feel like for him, with he has said statements time and time again, backing MLS, saying that the quality of the league. That might even be the reason, not trying to defend him, but it might be the reason why a guy like Paxton, who was doing really well in the Eredivisie and got overlooked by guys in MLS, even thought, you know what, let's just go back. I'll do even better in MLS. And that's clearly what the coach values. So anyways, I don't place that much blame on MLS or USSF on the roster. I think that's entirely up on the manager. That's his name at stake. So if he's been told to call these guys, that shows just what level of man he is. But we'll go on to the goalkeepers right here. Roman Celentano, your favorite goalkeeper, Braden. He makes an appearance here. Matt Freese and Jonathan Klinsmann, who I'm really happy to see. I've been talking about him for a little while. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I feel like this position is up for grabs. I kind of like it that it's none of the usual names. Your thoughts, Braden? Do you think that he realistically will pick one of these guys in less than a year from now to the World Cup? Do you think they're fighting for a spot? This is a complete change. What do you think?
Yeah, this is actually a very interesting position group. It almost seems to me like Poch put like 20 names on a wheel and he just decided to spin it 3 times. And it landed on these guys. Not to say I'm too mad. Honestly, I think this is the position group that I'm most happy about for the roster. I think the first thing that I thought when I saw these was that Matt Freese is now our solidified number one. Poch had said in the past that it was still a competition, but seeing Matt Turner not even make the roster especially now that he's playing regular minutes. Obviously, he had that whole fiasco with the Leon transfer. He's back with the Revolution, where it all started for him, and playing consistent minutes. He's doing pretty well in MLS, small sample size, but off to a good start. And to see him not called in at all, it just tells me a lot about what Poch sees in Matt Freese. Honestly, it reminds me of back in the last World Cup where Zach Steffen was left off the roster entirely, kind of to show Matt Turner confidence and tell him, look, you're our solidified number one, because there was some questions as to how close were the two guys and who would really be the starter. They backed Turner, and now what happened? Turner benefited it from in the past, and now he's unfortunately for him missing out because of a similar reason. Speaking of Stefan, he's not here. Patrick Schulte's not here. Chris Brady, Ethan Horvath, guys that we've seen in the past. It tells me, again, either Poch just spun a wheel or roll a dice or something, or he just really isn't satisfied with the keeper pool, and I can't blame him. The options are all very, very poor. I think Freese is probably the best of a pretty bad bunch, and he's just looking at some other options. Celentano, I think if you guys have been watching for a while, you know how much I think he's overrated, but he's having a decent season in MLS. FC Cincy are pretty good, second or third in the Supporters' Shield, so I'm not mad to see him here. And Klinsmann, honestly, I think he gets a little bit overhyped just because he is abroad in Europe. As Poch was so happy to say, MLS is better than some European leagues, which is, I mean, the most obvious statement of all time. Europe's a big place. They have all kinds of leagues. I mean, of course, it's better than England League Two or the Slovenian League or whatever. But MLS is obviously better than Serie B. I think that's a pretty safe thing to say. Klinsmann wasn't great when he was in MLS, but he's been doing okay with Cesena. I'm okay seeing him getting a chance. But regardless, I think that it's a solid call-up and definitely a welcome one considering the rest of the roster. And I think overall, I'm actually coming away from the goalkeepers looking more positively than negatively, which is honestly surprising. So fair enough. Good job, Poch.
Yeah, honestly, I like the way they described it. He put some names on a hat or on a wheel and spun it, and that's how he got them. I like that Matt Freese is getting this confidence boost. I mean, you need your goalkeeper to be confident. I don't like this thing of like it's all up for grabs. I mean, ideally, you'd have one guy that you back, and he justifies why you back him. I don't feel like he has done much wrong. I like him being the number one and getting this boost in confidence. As for the other ones, I like seeing Klinsmann there because I think that he's genuinely doing well. I think it's fair to say he earned the call-up. Whether he deserves to be on the or earned a spot on the roster, that's entirely up to Poch and his crazy. Well, I don't know what criteria they use, but it's nice to see him get called up at least. And it's nice to see how the club was posting about him too, hyping him up. So it shows that they care about him. But yeah, for Celentano, good season. He has a big mistake in him every 3 or 4 games. So I feel like I don't want my keeper to be like that, but he's not even going to play. So moving on to the defenders. I'm going to read right here. Max Arston, crazy. It's crazy. What does he have on Poch? And I mean, anyways, move on from him. Noah Kai Banks, nice to see him there. Tristan Blackmon. Serginho Dest, I really love to see the best fullback in the world back in the roster. This is the big positive for me, but he picks himself, so it's not even props to Poch. Alex Freeman, Nathan Harrio, Dio Mia, what is he doing here? Tim Ream, what is he doing here? And Chris Richards. So thoughts on these defenders? Obviously, there are some notable misses right there. Who do you think... let's not even talk about Jedi. Who do you think that's in the fringes that got overlooked by these players in MLS that clearly shouldn't be there?
Yeah, I'll start with the center backs, and I'll start by saying that Chris Richards is one of the only players I thought who had a really good summer for the USMNT. He's been pretty good with Crystal Palace as well to start the season. So obviously great to see him here. He's our solidified CB1. It looks like his partner is going to be Tim Ream. I disagree with that. I don't think he was too great in the Gold Cup. He's old. He's getting worse now. Finally, I mean, props to the guy. I mean, he kept getting better somehow at like age 34 or 35, but now he's finally starting to decline, even within MLS. And I just personally think that not having Mark McKenzie here is delusional. Safe to nothing else to say. I mean, he started the season with 2 clean sheets out of 2 against good teams. Hard results to get. They're technically top or second in the league. I mean, it's 2 games, whatever, but he started the season well. His team has started the season well. It's a much higher level than MLS, and I don't think it takes a genius to see that he's a much better center back than some of these other guys that are getting called in. I don't get the decision at all. Noah Kai Banks is a very, very big positive. Definitely, I think for me at least, the biggest positive of the roster. Huge bright spot, the light at the end of the tunnel, you could say, because he is such a special player. Unfortunately, he hasn't broken into the Augsburg first team just yet in terms of the starting lineup, but he's in about the squad, always making the bench. And honestly, at this point, considering again how bad our center back depth is, this was the perfect opportunity, especially since he's probably not going to get released for the U20 World Cup by Augsburg. This is the time to give him a chance with the senior team, see what he can do, see if there is a player there that we can use for 2026, because we know he's going to be a huge part of the national team after that. But the question is, can he be a contributor right now? I personally think he can, and honestly, I think that he has a very good chance of even passing Tim Ream and being a starter at the World Cup. So look out for him. The other one, Tristan Blackman. It was funny when Thomas Muller spoiled his call-up. That's all I'll say on the matter. Congrats to him. He's having a good season. It says a lot that he's, 29 years old, and this is his only good season in MLS as a lifer. But, it is what it is. There's not like there's other options besides McKenzie, of course, who I already talked about. As for the fullbacks, Max Arfson is here. He's not a fullback. He's a winger. I don't understand the talent evaluation. He's not even that good as a winger. I mean, he's serviceable. He's okay in MLS. Has some nice moments there. Considering the winger depth, maybe he should be playing there for us, honestly, as a backup, but just not as a left back. He gets cooked by so many mediocre attackers within MLS. We saw it with the national team. I don't understand the decision. I will say, not having Jedi here does make sense. He just got back from injury. Better to be safe than sorry, as they say. Take a precaution on him. I just don't understand why it's not John Tolkien, who's already scored 2 goals for Holstein Kiel. Yeah, it's not a great league, but he already proved last year that he plays at a Bundesliga level. He's showing the ambition now to stay at his club, try to help them fight back and win promotion. I think he's better than Arsene. I think he's definitely better than Nathan Harriel. He should be here. Christopher Lund just made the move and started his first game in the Bundesliga with Cologne. He should be here over these guys. Joe Scally. Apparently, there's rumors going around on social media that he wasn't called up because last time he was in camp, he did donuts in a golf cart. I wish I was joking. That's the actual reason that it is being rumored for him not getting called up to the USMNT, because he decided to drive in circles in a golf cart. Not because he was bad in training, not because he had a big outburst in the locker room like John Brooks did that one time, not because he was horrible and got cooked in the games. Speaking of which, Nathan Harriel's here for some reason. Honestly, lost for words. If that's the reason, I don't understand what is going through Poch's brain. I don't know how he managed to bang 2 brain cells together for that one. But yeah, honestly, the only bright spot here, I think, is Sergino Dest. You touched on it. It's going to be so good to see him back. He started the season amazingly with PSV. He just brings so much to the USMNT that we've been missing over the past year. So happy to see him. Alex Freeman, I think, actually does deserve a spot. I think I'm in the minority there who think that, but I honestly would call him over Scally. I just think Scally should probably be here over Harriel and Arston. But that's my thoughts on the defenders. What do you think?
I was going to say that for me, Freeman is a name that I would really like to see go to Europe soon. And not to hate on MLS, but already hating on it. I feel like the guy with his physicality and his attributes, benefiting from a really good coach tactically, there's a player there. There's a real player there that can contribute to the national team. I really believe that. But everyone else here, Nathan Harriel, there's no player there. I'm sorry. I know you're a Philly fan, but there isn't a player there that can contribute to the national team. Tim Ream, in my opinion, there isn't a player there anymore at the highest level. Arfston, I'm not even going to touch on him. Noah Kai Banks, nice to see him here. Hopefully, I just feel like he's too young. I don't feel like he'll be ready to be a starter, but it's nice. I would rather have him than Tim Ream at this point. And I will say I don't understand why Tolkien isn't here. And I thought that the rumor you're going to mention was that Joe Scally and Gio Reyna are enjoying their honeymoon, and that's why they couldn't be here. But jokes aside, it's a very sad, sorry group of defenders. If someone had told me 4 years ago, hey, less than a year to the World Cup, this is the group of players you're going to have, I would absolutely not believe them. This is crazy. It's just so sad reading this. It's basically Richards, Dest, and then whoever else. Spin the wheel. Let's see who gets to start. It's crazy. Then we move on to the midfielders right here. This is by far the most controversial group. It's fair to say it's the one that we have most talent in, and Poch has ultimately chosen to go with Tyler Adams. That's a fair call up. Loved what he did during the summer. It wasn't the best player really, but just the effort to be there. We know he's the de facto captain mentality-wise, I believe, there. Sebastian Berhalter, Luca Della Boring, Diego Luna, McGlynn, and Sean Zawadzki somehow. Thoughts on these midfielders, thinking about all of the players. I know. Oh, and also, just before I move on to them, I wanted to say a quick word on McKenzie. I saw some people saying that the Ligue 1 is not that much better than MLS. You're absolutely crazy if you think that. Absolutely crazy. McKenzie should have been there. And I thought about that as I was thinking that I'm not the biggest fan of Johnny, but him not being here and having some of these guys doesn't make sense. Tesman now solidified starter for Lyon, doing really well there. Not here either. Anyways, we've went with these guys. Thoughts on this ludicrous, absolutely horrendous choice of players for the midfield, Braden? Who do you think? Again, I'm not even going to touch on the main names, fringe players that should have been here ahead of some players that, let's say, are very, very questionable.
First of all, I just want to ask a question to everyone watching. Do you think that this group of midfielders is a top 10 midfield in CONCACAF? Top 5, maybe we'll say. I think it's not even close, and they're absolutely not. You have one good player in here, and then a bunch of MLS quota guys, including a son of a former manager, interestingly enough, that we have 2 of those on the roster, with Klinsmann now being added. So surely there's no nepotism going on in U.S. soccer. There's never been any history of that. But
I just wanted to answer your question really quickly before we move on your question. I would just say take Tyler Adams out of this, put all of these players in one club in MLS, it might not even win the MLS Cup. I legitimately think that. And it's a good group of players, but just answering your question, my 2 cents on how bad it is.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think the thing about MLS is, and Tack said this on Twitter as well, there are good players in MLS. There are players that are good enough to make the national team. They just aren't American. So we're left with these guys, which is unfortunate. But like I was saying, I'm not even going to talk about the guys who are here because I think it's more interesting and more notable to talk about who isn't. Starting with, of course, Weston McKennie, probably the biggest miss, one of supposedly a locked-in player for us, a key starter. Apparently, Poch's excuse for not putting McKennie in is because he already knows the player and wants to get a look at some other guys. Now, my question to you, Poch, is do you know that there's a World Cup in less than a year? We don't have time to be experimenting around like this, especially after how poor we've been the last year and a half. We can't afford to give minutes to Sean Zawadzki and Sebastian Berhalter and Luca De La Torre just because you want to look at some other fringe guys over Weston McKennie. That's ridiculous. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, Johnny Cardoso, probably the second biggest snub here. He was left out, allegedly. This is the excuse that Poch gave in the press conference, so that he can settle into his new club after making the transfer to Atletico Madrid. This is despite Poch going to his debut against Espanyol, which, by the way, if anyone thinks he was there to scout Johnny, no, you are so wrong. He was there because he's a former player and a former manager of Espanyol. He lives in Barcelona, which is where they play, and he wanted to celebrate his new club, their first game in La Liga of the season, and they won. So credit to them. Big win over Atleti. Simeone and his substitutions fell apart, but I digress. Johnny Cardoso was left out despite being a starter in that game that Poch was at, starting the next one as well. He's already a locked-in starter with Atletico Madrid. Fans are saying he's one of the only bright spots in their very slow start to the season. But no, he's left out so he can settle in and establish himself as a key player there. However, you look at the forwards. Tim Weah from Marseille, he's here. He started out, he's a rotation player. He started his first game on the bench, came on, had some decent moments. He started the second game, his first start for the club. He was abysmal against a newly promoted team, Paris FC. Yeah, they have some money, but I don't care. It's a newly promoted team in Ligue 1. You should be battering them. The rest of Marseille's attack battered them. Weah did nothing, got subbed off. He's a rotation player. He's actually fighting for minutes, but no, he is here. Damian Downs for Southampton has already missed 2 sitters. And I'm not talking sitters like there's a defender in the way, you're like at the penalty spot and you just miss wide. No, he completely missed the ball twice from 3 yards away from the goal. One of them ended up being a lucky assist. The other one, he just completely messed it up, didn't even get a shot away. He is firmly a bench player for Southampton. He didn't even start in their cup game, let alone in the league games, but yet he's here. Shouldn't he need to fight for minutes because he started the season so poorly and he's not getting any minutes for them? I don't understand the excuses. Honestly, I think if Poch didn't have a press conference at all, he would come away looking better because the reasons he gave for not selecting some of these players are ridiculous. Tanner Tessman and Aidan Morris are those fringe players you mentioned. I think he gave a similar reason to McKennie. And I mean, I guess fair enough, but they weren't in the Gold Cup either. So when are you going to get a look at them? Because they're clearly better than the guys that are here, especially Tessman. He's having a really solid start to the season at Lyon. I think he's finally found his feet there after an up and down start in his first season. Aidan Morris has won back-to-back player of the matches for Middlesbrough. It just makes no sense, honestly. Yunus Musa is another one. Honestly, if we were full strength, I don't want Yunus Musa called up. I'll just say that now. I know that's a hot take. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's progressed in the last few years, despite somehow continuing to get transfers failing upwards. It looks like he might move to Atalanta soon. Curious to see how that goes. Maybe that's the reason he wasn't called up. I don't know. Like I said, full strength, I don't want him, but looking at who's here, he should be here. And then final thing I have to say here, I just think it's very, very funny that the roster was announced on Paxton Aronson's birthday. He sold out to MLS like they wanted. I mean, obviously he saw a bunch of MLS guys play over him in the Gold Cup, and he still didn't make the roster. So, sorry, dude. Should have actually challenged yourself at Frankfurt. I think it's funny, honestly. I don't even feel bad for the kid at all.
Yeah, it's I completely agree with you. It's crazy. I mean, the reasons that he was given, I mean, I don't know. I just don't take Poch serious, really, and I don't like to just blame the federation, even though obviously they're a really bad federation. But the guy that they hired is the biggest yes man with no pride in his work, no pride in his name and what he's vouching for. It's absolutely horrendous. It's really sad, actually. You know, it's comical but sad how Poch is as a coach for this national team. And moving on to the forwards. The lack of cohesion throughout the entire roster so far. And here we find Damon Downs. As you said, honestly, he hasn't looked good at all. And it's not even the sitters. I would just say it's just how he actually looks on the field. Doesn't look good at all. We have Captain America finally back, just what the doctor recommended this time around, huh? And Josh Sargent. Josh Sargent, he's like two different people. He sends his alter ego to the USMNT. I don't know what happens. We get Weah there, who his red card is looking worse and worse every day. This fan base now is forgetting that this man is the one responsible for this roster is on Weah, in my opinion. It's on Weah. Everyone was celebrating, giving him a pass for the red card. Oh, at least we got Greg fired. Greg wasn't great. Not starting to say that, but now everybody all of a sudden forgets that he got us out of the Copa America and he's leading us to this. This is on Weah too. So maybe that's harsh. It's just my opinion. He gets his reward right here. And Zendejas. Downs, Pulisic, Sargent, Weah, and Zendejas. Less than a year to the World Cup. Really exciting. Oh, it's crazy. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add, it's not here because he was added to the roster late. Fuller and Balogun is here. That's definitely a positive. Although I will say, the Vancouver Whitecaps did release an article or a statement or something saying that Brian White did get called up, but he had to pull out with an injury. And when the initial U.S. roster was released, which is why you don't see Balogun's name here, it was 22 players plus a player to be named later. So what that tells me is that they actually decided that Brian White is a better striker than Fuller and Balogun, called him up, and then, okay, he was injured. We'll call up Balogun. We'll see how he's doing. He just got back from injury, but he started over the weekend for Monaco. What the fuck? What are you doing? How did you watch Brian White play over the summer? Every day he was in training and in the games. I mean, he didn't really get many minutes because he's not that good. But you actually made the decision that he is a better footballer than Fuller and Balogun. How? Is he drunk? Is he on drugs? That's the only explanation I can think of personally, besides obviously the one where he's getting paid by MLS and they're telling him what to do. But some people don't like that theory. But other than that, honestly, there's not a lot to complain about. Pepe just got back from injury. He's definitely less match fit than Balogun is. I'm not mad not seeing him here. Honestly, I'm actually surprised pleasantly to see Josh Sargent back. He started the season so well with Norwich, 4 goals in his first 4 games. I mean, he's just proving that he really should have taken that move to the Bundesliga or even the Premier League because he's way too good for the Championship. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he can finally get a goal for the national team because I think once he does get that goal, he will start playing better. I mean, having that massive weight on his shoulders of not scoring for the US in almost 6 years. I mean, that has to affect his confidence in some way. Although what I will say is I don't know who's getting him the ball because that midfield is completely incompetent. So good luck to him. I hope he scores. He might find a difficult time of even touching the ball. Damian Downs, I mean, considering the options, it's okay. It's fine. I would have rather had Haji Wright. I would have rather had both of them in the roster, to be honest. Haji as a winger and take out one of the defenders or something, or bring 24. I don't care. I just think it's ridiculous that Haji is not here after the start that he's had for Coventry. I don't know why he continues to get overlooked. But yeah, that's about it. One last thing I want to say, well, 2 things. Number one, I'm happy for Alex Sendejas. He's been so good for Club America, probably the biggest and most successful team in North America, at least right now. And he's a key player for them. It's nice to see him finally get the call up that he did deserve. And then the last thing I just wanted to say is that Patrick Adjumong, I guarantee he would have been here if he wasn't injured. So I hope he's back soon. Hopefully he can deal with the hernia that he's getting and get some games for Derby County. But yeah, that's all I have to say on the forwards.
Get some leg replacements too. Yeah, he needs them. First touch is awful, but I don't want to sound too that's so negative. No, shame on me. But no, shame on Poch. Shame on me. Shame on Poch. That's why I'm being mean to a guy that's probably really nice. I mean, overall, ridiculous roster. We're gonna have other videos previewing the matches. I mean, again, props to USSF for at least arranging very, very respectable matchups. The entire program on the World to the World Cup is looking legit. So again, I place most of the blame in the guy that is the one there in the press conferences justifying these things, calling these names up, putting his work, his name on the line as the coach. Ridiculous. But let us know in the comments below. Biggest misses, players that you feel like should have been there. There are definitely quite a few. Who do you guys believe? I'll put a challenge right here. The next 2 random players from MLS that will get their first call up. I feel like we should do a giveaway. If someone gets it spot on, let's give them a jersey or something. The next random player to get their first ever call up for the national team. I'm going to look at the Whitecaps roster closely so I get my guess in. But thank you so much. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time.